Hi there, designers. I just wanted to quickly show you how to do the graphite transfer. You might have a tracing paper that is designed like this with a 60-degree angle. I'm going to show you that first. You also might have different setups of your tracing paper, so I'm going to show a couple of different things. Let's say you have a design like this, and you know that the center point of your design is going to be here because it's a radially symmetrical design. This isn't tracing paper because I didn't have any, but just imagine it is. Okay, luckily it's thin enough paper that I can see through it. So here we go. So I'm going to figure out on my drawing paper where pretty much where I want the middle of my design to be. So I'm just make a little mark there. Okay, I'm going to line this right up with the mark. All right, and I can see these lines through my tracing paper, and I'm going to press hard with my pencil to push the graphite. Let's lift up and look. Oh, look, it pushed the graphite right onto that spot on the paper. I'm going to do it again on all of my lines until the whole design is transferred on there. You have to make sure that where you're putting the pencil, where you're pressing down, is right on top of the graphite line. Otherwise, you're not going to have anything transfer because there's nothing that the pencil is going to press onto there. Okay, so here we go. I'm just going to go through my design. I just made a really simple design so it would go fairly quickly, but let me just, work my way through this. You will take your time doing this so that your paper doesn't shift around. It might even be a good idea to put a little piece of tape on your paper, on your tracing paper before you start doing this transfer so that it doesn't slide around on you. Notice I'm kind of using this hand to hold everything steady. Okay, so I do that and I lift it up and oh my gosh, the whole design transferred over. Now, there might be a couple little skips in the design, but I can kind of pencil those back in so I can see it. And ultimately, I don't want any pencil marks showing in the end. So, it's good if the pencil marks are kind of light. Ultimately, I only want my ink parts to show. So I'm just going to make a little mark right there so I see where I place the paper, because the next thing I want to do if I want to make this symmetrical is flip it. And when I flip this, the design will line up. So I'll make sure I go exactly to that same point again. And of course, I already have graphite lines on this side. And I just made them on the other side. Whoops, hold on. Okay. And you're just transferring the design again. Okay, I lift my paper up, and there we go. I can see my design coming together. It's staying symmetrical. I'm just going to do this one more time so that you can see that the shapes will line right up so long as you're flipping and tracing this carefully. I'm just going to do half of this circle design, but you get the idea, right? Okay, you just keep pressing hard over where you've where your pencil, or in other words, this is graphite, right? The material that the pencil is making marks with is graphite. So you're just using the pressure of the pencil to transfer that graphite onto your, drawing paper. Okay, there we go. Okay, and then I could keep flipping and tracing and flipping and tracing and flipping and tracing 3 more times and get the other half of the circle, and then I'll have the whole design worked in. Now, let's say you had, instead of a piece like this with a 60-degree angle, you had a 90-degree angle. Well, this you would only flip and trace 4 times. same idea. You'd find the center, where the center point is going to be in your design, place that right in the middle of your drawing paper, and go over all of your lines again, each time flipping your paper so that you get that symmetry. Let's say your design is all the way worked out in a whole circle, okay? Then you would simply take the whole design, the whole piece of tracing paper that's already in a symmetrical circle design. And I left one part of this unfinished on purpose because I'm going to show you something else. Okay? We'll trace this on, or I should really say transfer this on. Okay? I don't know if you can see this in the video, but I can see through this paper. It's just printer paper, and I made my lines dark on the other side. If it's tracing paper, of course, that you guys have, you'll be able to see a lot better. I just didn't have tracing paper right here with me, so this is the best I could come up with. Okay. All right, so I made a sort of a water theme. I tried to keep my design, just for this demonstration, really simple. Yours is probably going to have a lot more, intricate line patterns to it. And of course, when you ink your design, you'll be making some of your lines thicker and some thinner. Okay, I want to make sure I go over these lines really heavy so that they all get transferred. Okay, so I'm pressing really hard. My hand is kind of slippery. I just put lotion on my hands. All right, there we go. Okay, so I only have a quarter of this part of my design drawn on my circle. Okay, so what do I do about that? So I can lift this, and I've got everything that I just transferred is on there, but I want to repeat this part that's not on here. I also want to have these waves going in the same direction. So if I flip this, let's see, if I flip this to the other way, then I'm going to have one wave going this way and one wave going that way. And I don't want that. I want all my waves to be going the same direction. So what I can do is just, instead of flipping this, keep it aligned in the same way. Oops, since I need to align it, I need to find my center point here. So I'll just do that and find my center point there. Okay, make sure I have this lined up, which would be, of course, easier to do if I had tracing paper, because I'd be able to see everything right through it. But it's easy enough to see through this. Okay, there's one more segment of it. Let's see, did it work? Yep, it did. Here's my wave. Okay, I'll just fix this line a little bit before I ink it so I can make sure that when I start inking it, there's no hesitation in my line. Okay, find my center again, get this aligned to the correct place. Trace it again, or really transfer it again. Okay, and turn this one more quarter turn to get the final. So I'm doing this 4 times. You might be transferring or tracing your design 4 times or 6 times, depending on what, on how you divided up the, template that you're tracing from. Okay, and then in the end, ultimately, what you want to have is some kind of design that is radially symmetrical, which this is. Okay, do I have bump? Okay, yeah, that looks good. Okay, and then you would be ready to ink. You'd be ready actually to lighten up your pencil marks and get everything as clean as you can. And then you're going to use those, let's see, do I have any? This is a Sharpie, but you guys would use, oh yeah, the pens you're going to use are something like this, a micron pen, okay? For starters, these will give you really, really thin lines, okay? And then you might even want to use a Sharpie or some other kind of pen to, make some of your lines thicker. You want to play around. Let's see, that's not a very good pen to use. You want to play around with the line weight, Okay, so you're going to make some of the lines thicker. Let's see, I kind of like that. Okay, so half of this I'm going to make a really thick line. Half of this shape I'm going to make a really thin line. Whatever you want to do, but you can play around with your line weight once you get to the inking part. Okay, so I hope this helped. Reach out to me by email if you have any questions, and hopefully I will see you guys soon.